Hello, my Cancerian Sun, Moon, Rising signs, and Venus signs in the collective. Welcome to your Path of True Love reading for September 2019. I am your reader for tonight, whenever you're watching this. Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, president of Join the Circle Productions. And professional witch, professional intuitive. I actually, Cancerians, went to the beach today. My past life son, I don't have children, I have cats, but this past Mercury retrograde brought back a child of mine from another life, and he kidnapped me today. It was totally voluntary. It took me to the beach. I hadn't been yet this year, so I went swimming in the Atlantic Ocean today, Smith Point Beach on Long Island. It was idyllic. So I'm nice and relaxed. I got some color. And took really the whole day off. Actually, now I'm doing this after midnight. Yeah, it's 12:42 a.m. So technically this is being done on Monday. So it was lovely. So what could be more perfect than doing the Cancerian Path of True Love on a Monday, Moon Day? All right. So let's get into this. Remember, these are general reads. I bless the decks before I do this, and I work the angels, the gods, and the masters to tune me to really feel this. And it was nice that I took this time, you know, to relax. And I swam. It was so wonderful. So my body is nice and relaxed. But to know that when you're mining the quantum field by zodiac sign, not everything is going to click for everybody. Because I can feel what I'm tuning into here, and emotional moodiness. It's a little too on the nose for Cancerians. Everybody's moody when they're moody, but there's something going on here. So my guides told me very clearly, slow your roll on this one. If it's a long one, it's a long one. If the right people will know it's for them. So let's dive in. I'm pulling one to start with, one from each of the usual decks that I read. We're starting with Caroline Myss archetype, so that you can look at what is the archetype in you? What is the soul power in you? What is the piece of the contract of what you came into this path of true love in general for? What's being looked at right now? Well, for the month of September 2019. So let's get that for you. It's light and it's shadow, so you can see what the alchemical foundation is for you on the path, regardless of what anybody else is doing. So please, my angels, gods, and masters, please, one card to signify the archetype that this Cancerian Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus Sun in the collective is focusing on the path of true love for August 2019. The Slave. Oh my, the Slave. Now, it's not immediately what you think. Some of you might be a little thrilled. Hey, whatever gets you through the night, it's all right. Harm none, harm none, harm none. But if they beg you to do it, or vice versa, how can it possibly be harm? Lots of ways. It's just a joke. Laugh, YouTube. We'll get to this. This is because this can be an incredibly high, holy, spiritual thing. It's not all about B&D, S&M. In fact, an incredibly teeny tiny portion of the archetype, I'm sure, considering. See, I knew when I was tuning in, because when I blessed the decks at first, it's like, oh, it feels so good, all this energy. Whenever you bless anything, the energy comes through you, right? It goes through your nervous system. It's just so lovely. You don't always have to feel it. You just need to mean it, and the energy moves. But then when I tuned to the collective and I said the prayer, I was like, oh, not in a bad way, but, intense, like a wave, right? So my angels, please clarify for the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for September 2019. Please, with that Slave archetype, please, an overview. Harmony. Now, this angel card, this is the Doreen Virtue Angel Pack. Oh, did I remember to put the box here? I'll get to it. I have no idea where it is right now. This angel card of harmony has been coming up a lot in readings that I've been doing for my clients, let alone in YouTube's. If you're watching, your other signs, whatever. but it's very personal. It's a very, very personal. It's often about emotional balance, and the slave with emotional balance and harmony. We'll get to that, particularly what you're in harmony with, to what you are giving your will to, because the slave archetype is all about will, choice, power, decision. So my gods, now usually, well, always, but no, usually Hera sits in the throne of Cancer for me. So my matron, my mother, my queen, you in particular, if you have any insight here, please, one card. For the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for September 2019, please. One card in clarification. The Emperor card. I swear, since I started doing the Path of True Love reads for September, I mean, it just seems like the Emperor is coming up again and again and again. And in Pan, and it's funny because I was thinking that before, like maybe an hour or so ago, about how often the card Pan in this deck, the Emperor, appears, and that it is really the only solely masculine energy card in the Daughters of the Moon Tarot by Fiona Morgan. It's a feminist deck, but it is definitely like a supportive, healthy, divine masculine energy. So once I get these all laid out, I can feel the connections between it all, particularly with the slave and the Emperor. It's like that's a little on the nosy. I don't want to just leave it there. I want to go deeper than that. So my masters, please help us go deeper with this. One card. Please, clarification for the Cancerian collective. Let me breathe. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for September 2019. Neediness. Okay. Cancerian, if you're feeling it, you're feeling what I'm feeling here. If it's you by now, you know. If this is you by now, you know. Not every reading is for everybody. Like I said, you're mining the quantum field, trolling the zodiacal collectives. There's a lot of variation in theme, and not everybody's going through the same thing at the same time, which is why, you know, I also put out the twin flame readings and, you know, other zodiacal sets that come to me, so that these are puzzle pieces. But the path of true love itself is really about the hero on the journey. It's about you. Anybody else who happens to appear on the path is really just a character in the story of the hero's journey, of the healing spiritual path through relationships, which is big for water signs, right? Because I'm Pisces moon. Believe me, I love swimming in that ocean today. I do. I swim a little bit like a dolphin. This is kind of an obscure reference, but Patrick Duffy, man from Atlantis, like I can swim like that underwater. The millennials have no idea what I'm talking about. Google Patrick Duffy and the word Atlantis. You'll see what I mean. So yeah, let's get a real whisper of true love here. A nice loud whisper, please, for the Cancerian collective, please. Oh, my pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please. One, please, whisper of love for the Cancerian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for September 2019. Look at your pattern in relationships. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Although I'm sorry. I'm sorry for any pain or suffering anybody's going through, no matter who they are. But it's just when the cards just say it, you know. That's why I love reading multiple decks. They make my work a lot easier. Puzzle pieces, right? Clues along the mystery path. Look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. Thank you, whisper of love. So look, I mean, I'm going to read the slave archetype light and shadow next as I get into lotus position. Let's get a little bit more centered, grounded, focused. Oh, look, I'm higher on the camera. Hi. Oh, by the way, there's Zeus right behind my head. Isn't that kind of fun? He's like talking right behind my head. I'm Zeus's hand puppet. wait till we get the Sag readings. That's where he sits. This is really, and speaking of Zeus, right? The Emperor in the Mythic Tarot, the Emperor is Zeus. So, just even going with that, if for me, like Hera is Cancer and Zeus is Sagittarius, we really, really have a possible thing here about you really, really abdicating your power. Let's read this, they're saying, because the intuitive is so much. Let's give it some intellectual structure. The slave. Now, look at the card, right? There is a bending. There is a going with, a surrendering to. So light attribute, first word, surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. You see what I'm saying? Can you feel that? It's like, I let go and let God. I let go and let Goddess, for the highest good, for the well-being of all, and harming none. As I will it, so let it be done. I mean, that's a witch's surrender. And if it's thy will be done, hey, whatever words, look, I don't think the gods, angels, and masters, at least with me, they don't care what the language or the culture or where it comes from. I mean, but sometimes we're tapping into other lives when we go into cultural, spiritual paths from the past that where we may not have the genetic DNA in us now, although nowadays, who knows, right? No one's swabbing my cheek for that. I don't really want to know. But to get that slave archetype, all of the great ones, right, had the slave archetype. Oh, go read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace. This is her deck. The slave archetype, we're looking at Jesus, we're looking at Moses, where literally Moses was a slave. They're playing Slave to the Rhythm by Grace Jones. Thank you. But, its spiritual potential is huge, that if you really surrender everything, your will, right? It's saying your power of choice to the divine. It's saying, you know what? You choose for me. That's a master move, and that's what the alchemy of the slave archetype is. It creates the master, but in a slave, not a servant to the divine, a pure abdication of will to the divine, which kind of makes you a master here, by the way. Not an easy path. Please, no, I don't have it. I have the servant. Goodness. Shadow attribute. Giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So look, in relationships, we do that all the time. It's something that can go back into childhood, but if we're looking at a lifelong, what's called a chronos archetype, chronos, like time, then yeah, that's something that you were born with. Maybe if it's from your family, maybe if it's, just a family that you were born into, or there was a tyrannical whatever that you had to constantly give your will over, and you were a slave to, in a way, that being spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, however, then that means you came in to work on this in this life, and I'm sorry for any pain or suffering. Look, I've always had Cancerians in my life. You feel so deeply, but it's all behind crab shell and claw, so no one really fucking knows, right? That if you are suffering, it's okay, but as a result, sometimes y'all can martyr, right? And with this neediness in there, that's usually where that comes from. So the slave archetype is a huge opportunity for you here to alchemize, and in a way, relatively simple. Simple need not imply easy. I learned that from A Course in Miracles. I know that's written in other places, but that simple need not imply love one another. Love and light, right? This is rough. I can feel this. I felt it as soon as I finished blessing the cards and went into tune to the collective. There it was. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And Cancerians, we're going to now look at this thing of harmony, though. That's the overlighting message of the angels, that I think you kind of know which way to go here. Now, the thing about harmony, I studied music. I'm a singer. I have a beautiful singing voice. I just don't use it that much. I use around the house all day long, in the car all day long, but professionally, no. But I know from music, trying to learn it, right? Like two notes on a scale right next to each other are dissonant. You'd think they'd be harmonic because they're so close. There's always a space, right? So thirds or sixths, it's hard to say with an angel's gap, that there's space, right? So that space, just to fill that empty space between you and the divine by saying, okay, right, to create harmony. That's what I'm feeling for that, because then this divine masculine card, Emperor here, then need not be a person so much as it can be your own divine masculine power. You as Emperor, you going through what we call an Emperor phase, where through this surrender, things get taken care of. And I mean, things get taken care of from an Emperor place, perhaps systematically, checklisty, you know, like we'll get this done and this done and this done and this done and this. And why? Because you're that if you're the slave to the gods, which is a rough way to say it, but it can really bring things into harmony. It really can. And of course, that's about the path of true love. We have to do that in relationships. And if this is about a relationship, right, a neediness thing, that perhaps you're feeling a slave to the situation or a slave to the other person, being held hostage, and yet this neediness, whether they are, they're showing me, yeah, no, part of the collective is that if the other person in this relationship is the one being needy. So I don't know that it's a 50-50. I don't need a percentage split, but thank you. They love giving me stats. It's definitely tilted a little bit in that direction. So, but regardless, if you're a Cancerian, you're feeling that neediness one way or the other. It's either your own thing that you're going through or you're empathing them. Doesn't matter if you surrender. Surrender your power of choice, your decisions, your will, your throat chakra to the divine. And a good way to do that is through prayer, silently or aloud. Even silent prayer is throat chakra. Because then look at your pattern of relationships, and that's kind of hinted at that before. Go back just in this life. Now look, if it's past, if you're into that sort of thing, past life stuff, I got past life stuff pretty much all the time. I mean, like I said, this work past retrograde brought past life sun into my life. Cancerian sign of the mother, right? I have it in the 12th house. It's like, oh, out of nowhere. And I love him. He's a great kid. Millennial, a great kid. But to really look at that, even if there is past life stuff going on here, stuff that you might be aware of, you can ask and receive what you're ready to receive. Yes, because Cancerians also have a deeper access to that sort of stuff. Fourth house, the home, but also from deeper in and higher up intuitively. So look at your patterns in relationships and understand that though, yes, there are though you feel that there are some mistakes that have been made, and who hasn't, that there is an opportunity here for real healing and change, but there is a strength that comes from saying, okay, this has been a learning curve, and I've been perhaps resisting, or I've been resisting surrendering this to God, Goddess, all that is, Zeus, Buddha, Jesus, and Jaina, Fred, Wilma, whoever your higher power is. Please, I'm an eclectic. They're all lenses to the one great light. But the one great light is a little too much, right? You need to filter that a little bit. But perhaps you instead have been a slave to someone or something. That this is an opportunity for you to become the Emperor, and that's divine masculine. So remember, when we're talking to masculine, feminine here, we're not talking gender. If you've watched any of my other videos, I think you're catching the wave on that. So there's our first line, and it's actually pretty cool because my eye keeps going to that card of harmony. So a harmonious slave with the Emperor within their own self, their own like divine masculine energy, that dealing with that neediness and looking at it like, are you a slave to someone's neediness? Are you a slave to your own? Doesn't matter. God, Goddess, all that is, higher power, decide for me. And that's Course in Miracles too. Decide for God, for me, decide for God, for me. Just saying. You know, I love my Course in Miracles. It saved my shit so many times. I mean, I can ask for a miracle and get one, but it's always inside first. There's always that healing inside that happens before anything shifts on the outside. And the Course in Miracles, it's not about making things shift on the outside as people think it is. Pure non-dualism, right? But got us here. Let's ask the angels here. I want some clarity about this neediness card. That's where I'm being pulled. My angels, please, what is the nature of this neediness, or what can heal this? What can this Cancerian do about whether this is their need? We're not even asking whose it is. What is the general healing that can happen here for this Cancerian? Trust. Now that says something right there. That the neediness there, what you need to do is trust, right? Because you're holding on, right? Neediness is neediness. Let's talk about neediness. It's a natural feeling, but there's a biological neediness. It's called hunger, right? Or when you got to pee, right? There's an urgency with neediness. But in relationships, this neediness is parasitic, vampiric, not just holding on. There's a whole other card in this deck called holding on. But that neediness, that I need you to, and that goes back to the shadow attribute of the slave, giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. And you need to trust. You need to trust. Now, look, if you're not ready to make a choice or a decision about this, and you abdicate to the divine, I'm not saying if you do this, this will happen. That's not how the divine works. They're not systematic that way. But if you go in that direction, you trust that this neediness is what's being healed in you, that you work on that. The decision will be made for you, or it will be made so obvious, simple, maybe not easy, but graceful, meaning filled with the divine on that. And so so the trust isn't trust your neediness here as a clarifier. It's saying trust. If you're going to surrender, then trust. It's like I ask people, it's like, did you hand it over to the gods? They say, yes, I did. I go, yeah, but you took it right back 30 seconds later, didn't you? They're like, well, it's like surrender control. That's fine. There's a balance. There's an alchemy there. Cancerians, crabs, tacking back and forth. That's fine. Just be gentle with yourself. In fact, I want to pull one of those for this harmony. What is a means by which they can find this balance and harmony? And they're bringing my attention to the heart chakra, the sphere and the tree of life, Tiferet, balance and harmony. That's emotional balance and harmony. So, these are your water signs here, my Cancerians. So please, my masters, an indication of what this harmony, what can bring harmony, or what's causing disharmony. Drought. Okay, so you're drained, my crabby crabs. Oh, my crusty crabs, my Mr. and Mrs. Crabs. Yeah, you've been pouring out your cup, and that's this is what will bring you harmony. But the thing is if you're waiting for somebody to fill your cup up, not with the slave archetype, you got to do it yourself. But how are you doing that here? Well, why don't we ask? My gods, please, what is the way that this drought can be quenched? My gods, please, one card in clarity for how this Cancerian on the path of true love for September 2019, how can their cup be filled? How do they fill their cup? A clue, a tip, a hint about the Cancerian cup being filled. The Strength card. Endure. 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 Call upon a strength beyond this world. Call upon a love beyond this world. The thing about drought is there, I could go into talking about weather patterns. That's a little too easy. And right now with climate change and global warming, I can't even say that, drought is cyclical anymore, because that's like the wheel is spinning wicked fucking fast and it's off its axle. Somehow that's all in the divine plan too. But I know that when I've gone through drought in my life, it was time for me to turn to the gods, because I had sometimes nowhere else to go emotionally, right? In isolation, to find my own harmony with the divine itself by surrendering my will. I mean, I know it for my witches out there, my pagans, thy will be done. That's something that comes with perfect love and perfect trust. Now, by the way, bide the Wiccan law ye must in perfect love and perfect trust. That's the Wiccan read, not the witches read. Plenty of witches be like, what? Remember, I'm from New York. So, you know, I'm not technically Wiccan. I'm eclectic. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Pisces moon. I will go to where I find truth, where I find connection, where I find mysticism. And sometimes you shed skins and move on, right? But to find your connection to your higher power here, to call upon the courage, the healing of the heart, that's what real courage is. Healing your emotions, healing your heart. Why? Because it takes a bravery while embracing your fears. It's not about pushing them back down. So that's how your cup gets refilled. Go to your gods, cry your eyes out. You know, let's talk perfect love and perfect trust, by the way. Of at least my gods, my pantheon, they love me. They have made it very clear. I have no idea what's going on. Nobody down here really does, because, you know, they're higher dimensional. They just see more. We're like TV for them. And time and space is different. So they know that they see the quantum game and how it can play out. And so perfect love and perfect trust of them is easy for me because they've saved my shit so many times. Particularly in the interior world, like there's just stuff. Grant me serenity to accept the things I can't change out here in this relation, this or that. What can I change? The courage to change the things I can. Now I know I just gave you 12 steppies there, but you know, there's truth in mystical wisdom everywhere. And I don't know about everywhere, but if you look for it, you can at least learn something. Even if it's not truth, you learn it's not truth. Where to next? Yeah, I want to clarify that too. Here we go. Okay. My masters, please, I want to clarify this Emperor card. Just give us a quality, a clue, a tip, a hint, a way in, an attribute of, a card of clarity, please. One card. Good timing. Okay, now that right there, good timing. That's part of the divine plan stuff, divine timing. I want to pull an angel card for that too. Let's do that. Kind of complete the sentence there. Please, my angels. Oh, that's neat. Oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Thank you. Please, my angels, for this Emperor in good timing. One card of clarity for the Cancerian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Path of True Love. September 2019. This one. Power. You're coming into your power. There's something about the surrender to the divine. Surrender your will to the divine. Now, by the way, I have to say, go read Anatomy of the Spirit, Caroline May's throat chakra. The sacred truth of the third chakra is surrender your will to the divine anyway. That's what we all need to do to keep our energy systems in balance, particularly the third chakra. It's willpower, choice, decisions, justice, and mercy. There's a lot going on in the third chakra. So that thing that this relationship is all under a timing that is beyond you. Like I said, the gods just see these things from a different place. So do the masters and the angels. I mean, eternal means mostly they're outside of time, right? They play the game of time, but we are in the game of time. So that this is about you coming into your power, but it's a different quality of power than you may be used to, and that maybe you've been developing your whole life. They want me to pull another tarot card, because the way they did this with each line, you'll see it when I put up the picture. It's just one of each. I like this, actually. I might replicate this for clients. One row of each of clarifier. Anyway, thank you. Please, my gods. One card for the Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, about this neediness and trust, please. A card of clarification. Clue, a tip, a hint. Mother Hera, Matron Hera, Queen Hera, please. Your compassion, your oversight, your vision, your gift. Conflict. That's really where it's a conflict of trust. But no, I don't usually do, because these are round cards, you don't always do straight up, straight down, positive, negative key. This I would say, if I were to lay this down this way, that this is 3/4 of the way through. It often shows timing, but cyclic timing, not like minutes, hours, days, whatever. So I'm going to say conflict. At that 3/4, it's like the conflict is almost completely revealed. It's almost completely upright, so which indicates that a lot of this was subconscious, and again, stuff that might have went down. Chances are, and the type of wound of neediness can certainly come from abuse or neglect, right? Because if you're being abused, there's a sense of neediness and not knowing what to do, but usually it comes more from neglect. And it's a wound that many of us have because you know what? Not everybody's supposed to give us what we need. Some people can't. Oh, you may want to go have a look at your twin flame reading, Cancerian, because twin flame relationships in particular by contract, and you agreed to it before you came down. You said, all right, I'm going to be in your life and I'm going to love you and we're going to teach each other how to heal ourselves, but we can't give each other what give the other what they really want and what they really need. It's a rough ass contract, twin flame, and apparently I've had more than I realized. Family members, the whole nine. But hang in there. That this conflict is to get you to this place of surrender to the divine, right? Is that right, Mom? I love you so much. It's my Harris statue. Yes, the Morgan. They don't mind their sisters. They'll share a statue, so to speak. So let's do a little prayer for you. This is what I'm good at. But before we do, just to look at this first line, so clear. Really, one more. No, they want me to pull one more card. Then we'll look at the full picture. They want me to get you, and I'll put it right under the card of the slave. Oh, my pantheon of angels, gods, and masters. Please, one card. A whisper of love. And final message for this slave archetype in the Cancerian Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign collective. Please, a whisper of love for them, from them to you. Ask for help. Then I said I was going to put it under the slave card. Ask for help. What is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself to support. Oh, sorry. What is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself the support you need. I'm the divine. Surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. It says it right on the card. Thank you, my angels, gods, and masters. Let's bless them. Let's holster that first. Feet, ground. My angels, gods, and masters, please bless the Cancerian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love for September 2019 and beyond. For those in this place of divine timing, these slaves finding their power, finding their trust of the divine, asking for help, filling their cup with courage, following the heart, refilling the heart, recharging the heart, bringing it into harmony. That this neediness, this conflict is trust-based. Help them to trust a love beyond this world that has arranged everything for them instead of happening to them. That they may look at their patterns in relationships, learn, heal, grow, evolve, and become the best that they can be to fulfill their role in the divine plan on the path of true love, to be more loving, powerful, and wise than they have ever been before. Beginning, middle, and end of this. May they be blessed. May they be blessed. May all hearts be blessed. May all souls be blessed. May all minds be blessed. May all bodies be blessed. And may we all, heart and heart, mind and mind, hand in hand, soul and soul, make our way home to peace, to love, to true love, and to our fulfillment in our role of the divine plan and beyond. Bless all the Cancerians everywhere. Thank you. So mote it be. Oh, my crabby crabs. I really, 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 really wish you the very best of the month with this. That's why, I'm going to keep putting out these zodiac reads for you all so that you get little pieces of the puzzle. I know it's not easy, but please reach out and get a reading, right? Reach out to me, to anybody. But I have to say, I read water signs exceedingly well. Like when a water sign sits in front of me, I'm like, oh, good. Like my Pisces students, like, this will be fun. And I have to say, regardless of content, if it's a water sign, we usually have a good time because there's a lot of sympathy and humor and understanding and seeing the whackness of it all, right? So, yeah, like I said, good luck. Reach out. Oh, my info is in the box below if you want a reading. Go check out my website. There's cool stuff on my website. It's always growing and developing. And please do like and subscribe. Like I've been saying, it's like the vid if it clicks for you, and subscribe if it really clicks for you, because that means you might be one of the people in the collective that I'm doing this for, right? So I thank you so much for your time, Cancerians. I know you're busy. I know there's a lot going on for you. Obviously, the slave, you got a list of stuff to take care of. So hang in there. May the grace of humility, the grace of hope, and the grace of endurance be yours, the maiden, the mother, and the crone grace, now and forevermore. So mote it be. But for now, hail, farewell, and blessed be.